Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News Today starts now.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, June 2nd, 2022. I'm Jordan Berger. Thanks for waking up with us today.
Yeah, I'm Tim Schmidt. Our weather is going to be a lot better today. It looks like already we're back to some sunshine according to the sky cams. Any clouds that we would have would be just high clouds passing by. Aerial flood warning still is in effect for parts of western Missouri, including Sedalia and Boonville until 9 o'clock this morning. We had some significant rainfall out west yesterday morning, which still might have a few areas flooded up this morning, especially in some more rural areas of the county. Otherwise, we're back to the sunshine and, more importantly, dry weather this morning. Temperatures are currently only in the 50s. 57 is your temperature in Columbia. We're at 60 in Jefferson City and Eldon. 58 is your temperature in Lynn. We're down into the low 50s up in Macon, where they're currently down near 53 degrees.
Thanks, Tim. Well, happening today, Columbia City Manager DeCarlin Seawood will deliver the State of the City address this morning. It's happening at 11 a.m. at the Council Chambers at City Hall, and everyone is welcome to attend. We'll continue to follow this story throughout the day. We'll bring you updates both on air and online on KOMU.com. City of Columbia and the Health Department are asking for residents to take a new survey. They want to know your opinion on how to spend pandemic relief money that the city's getting. Columbia is supposed to receive a little more than $25 million in federal funds from the American Rescue Plan Act. Now, so far, the city has allocated $12.6 million already. Now, that money is going toward initiatives related to homelessness and community violence, along with mental health services and workforce development. A spokesperson for the Health Department says people can choose their top 3 priorities for assistance.
So it could be sewer and water infrastructure, it could be broadband, it could be community violence, homelessness, some of the things that we've already tackled.
Now, she also says the city wants to hear from everyone who's been affected by the pandemic. On KOMU.com, you can find a link to fill out the survey, and you have until June 30th to do that. Focus groups will look at the results, and then the City Council will make the final spending decisions. Today, a 37-year-old William Dahl has a pre-trial hearing in federal court. In total, he faces 24 felonies and 2 misdemeanors in 6 separate child sex crime cases in Audrain and Randolph counties. Dahl faces 4 additional charges in a federal case. He's being held at the Crawford County Jail. Missouri State Highway Patrol is looking for witnesses of the Sunday shooting in Sedalia, where a police officer shot and killed a suspect. Sedalia PD says it received a call that a man had a gun in a yard. The department says the suspect, 22-year-old Mason Moore, shot at officers. One officer then shot and hit Moore, who was pronounced dead at the hospital. The family of Daniel Santulli is suing 2 more members of the Phi Gamma Delta fraternity. That's according to our news partners, the Columbia Missourian. Last month, the family agreed to settlements with 23 defendants in the civil lawsuit over Santulli's injuries. He ended up in the hospital in October with alcohol poisoning after a fraternity party. The family attorney says Santulli is still unable to walk or communicate. Public reporting on social media caused the removal of a post raffling guns on the Columbia Police Officers Association's Facebook page. Now, the raffle is part of their upcoming 27th annual golf tournament. KOMU 8 was able to screenshot the original post before its removal. The association posted this about the gun raffle on April 13th. The post reads that Modern Arms would be providing 2 firearms, a semi-automatic rifle and a Glock semi-automatic pistol. Now, KOMU 8 spoke to a Columbia couple who saw the initial post before its removal.
In light of what's been going on in our country, especially in the last few weeks, it just seems counterproductive and counterintuitive to me that a police officers association would want to put more guns out into our community.
Now, this statement was posted on the Police Officers Association's Facebook page. It said, quote, "Some have expressed concerns about our fundraiser, and some have been spreading false information. CPOA is not raffling an AK-47 or an automatic pistol and is only raffling items that are 100% lawful to possess. CPOA will continue to respect and honor all of the constitutional rights of everyone, even if some people think we shouldn't. If you want to buy a ticket, please let us know." End quote. A new MU study shows the hard choices made by those who use food pantries. The report found 46% of Missouri food pantry users had to choose between paying for food or paying for utilities last year. It also reported 38% had to pick between food and medicine, and 34% picked between food and housing. The purpose of this study is to better address food needs in Missouri and how food banks are helping.
We kind of had this dual purpose or this dual focus on both understanding what's going on with the people who are using the food pantries and then what's going on with the people and the organizations themselves who are providing this food assistance.
Now, the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri says it's using this data to strategically address the needs of those that it serves. And the Missouri Department of Health launched an interactive map to help families find summer food programs. You can see that map here. Summer programs provide breakfast, lunch, and snacks for eligible children. Now, this is especially important during the summer when some students don't have access to school lunches. You can find a link to that interactive map over on KOMU.com. Summer classes start today for Columbia Public School students. Almost 9,000 of them are enrolled this year. Now, last Thursday was the last day of school for the regular session. That means faculty and staff had exactly 1 week before they had to return to the classroom. One Battle High School instructional aide says this time of year can be overwhelming.
It's kind of a whirlwind. We just finished and now we're back. So I think it's good for me personally because it keeps the momentum. I'm ready to keep going. And then after summer school, I'll have a little break before starting in the fall.
Now, the summer session ends on June 29th and the new school year will start in August. I remember when I was in high school, I did a couple summer classes to get ahead and, you know, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, it does feel a little weird, though, taking the, like, man, this is my summer. I have to do more school. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, look at our pollen counts. And, yeah, the tree pollen numbers, those are now seasonally done pretty much this time of the year.
Well, today, England celebrates its queen. Coming up, a look at the Platinum Jubilee festivities. But first, it's a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport. Hop on a plane, go to England. That sounds fun. It's 6:07. We'll be right back after this.
All right. Well, your weather for today will eventually become more and more comfortable outside.
Thanks, Tim. In national news, at least 4 people were killed in a mass shooting at a Tulsa, Oklahoma hospital. According to police, a man entered St. Francis Hospital with a rifle and began opening fire. Authorities also say the shooter took his own life. At a press conference, the deputy police chief of Tulsa gave an update on the incident.
Right now, we have 4 civilians that are dead. We have 1 shooter that is dead, and right now, we believe that is self-inflicted. Officers have not been interviewed, but we're certain that's a self-inflicted gunshot wound on his part.
White House spokesperson says President Biden reached out to state and local officials to offer support, and an investigation is now underway.
We're not able to disclose everything at this time because we have to protect the investigative process. You know, we're going to have more as the night goes on. We have investigators in other jurisdictions. We have multiple jurisdictions here. So we're hoping we get more answers that we can share with the public here in the very near future.
Tulsa PD says they got to the scene within 5 minutes of the first 911 call. A mass evacuation took place with hundreds of rooms evacuated. Now to Uvalde, Texas. The school police chief who led the response to the mass shooting last week spoke publicly for the first time. Newly obtained video shows the moments the attack unfolded. You can see a group of armed officers rushing into the school and terrified children running away. As of yesterday, the Texas Department of Public Safety said Police Chief Pete Arredondo had not responded to Texas Rangers for a follow-up interview, but he told CNN otherwise.
I've been on the phone with them every day.
Did they say you're not cooperating? So just 2 seconds.
Just so you know, we've been talking to them every day.
Authorities say Arredondo ordered officers to wait instead of immediately charging into the classroom with the gunman inside. The Texas Law Enforcement Union is strongly urging members to cooperate fully after a great deal of false and misleading information. Members of Moms Demand Action went to Senator Roy Blunt's Columbia office yesterday to hand-deliver a stack of petitions. Those petitions have around 5,000 signatures from people calling for the senator to support gun safety legislation. The group is specifically asking for the confirmation of an ATF director. They're also calling for more gun safety regulations like expanded background checks and red flag laws.
After the horrific shootings in Uvalde and in Buffalo and in other parts of our country, this conversation is being had across kitchen tables, across Missouri, and we want our senator to hear from us.
In a statement, Blunt said he is glad the talk of bipartisan gun laws is happening. He said, quote, "I would be open to looking at the possibility of a red flag law to keep weapons out of the hands of people who pose an imminent threat to themselves or to others." Families are feeling the stress of rising costs of food and fuel. Parents are also growing more desperate as the baby formula crisis drags on. Republicans blame Democrats' policies for 40-year high inflation rates. Meanwhile, the Treasury Secretary admitting mistakes were made.
So the next time you fill up your car or go to the grocery store, you can thank the Biden administration.
I think I was wrong then about the path that inflation would take.
President Biden says fighting rising costs is a top domestic priority. He also acknowledged he didn't know the severity of the baby formula shortage.
I became aware of this problem sometime in early April about how intense it was.
But there is some good news. The administration announced new overseas shipments of formula are on the way. You're taking a live look from London right now. Today, Queen Elizabeth II celebrates 70 years on the throne. As you can see, her Jubilee festivities are about to start right now. Hundreds of thousands are gathered along the mall leading into Buckingham Palace. One of those in the crowd this morning is NBC's Jay Gray. He has the latest on the celebrations.
It is a country so often defined by its reserved, stoic nature, its history and tradition. But for the next 4 days, Britain is ready to party.
I think it's just like our neighborhood is all going to get together for a treat party.
Hundreds of thousands of neighbors from around the world gathering to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee.
She served so selflessly for the last 70 years, dedicated her life to the country. I'm so grateful to her for that. I'm so proud of her.
The pride of her nation on full display, beginning with today's Trooping the Color, a parade featuring members of the royal family, 1,200 officers from the Queen's Household Division, a marching band, and more than 200 riders on horseback.
I'm 70 years old, sleeping on the cobbles in London.
Donna Werner traveled from Connecticut, sleeping in a tent days before the celebration to make sure she has a front row view of history.
You know, it's just for the whole pomp and circumstance. We don't have anything like this in the United States, and this is just wonderful. I love Britain. I love its history. I love the monarchy.
A love sustained, a monarchy led for the last 7 decades by Elizabeth II. Jay Gray, NBC News, London.
And Queen Elizabeth is the first British royal to serve for 70 years. She became the heir apparent to the throne at age 11 when the next in line, her uncle Edward VIII, abdicated to her father Albert. 10 years later, during a radio address on her 21st birthday, she made this vow to her nation.
That my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Her coronation in 1953 was the first ever broadcast on live TV.
Yeah, I was just going to say that that speech that she made there in 1953, that was like right at the infancy of when national speeches were being given on TV to the whole nation, whether it was Britain or even here in the United States. Well, a look at our Sun Sense number. It's brought to you by KC Dermatology Center and Medical Spa. Your UV index is up near an 8 for today. Sunburn times will be around 30 minutes here on your Thursday.
Well, this is your warning. Father's Day is 17 days away. TikTok coming up. How much experts predict that Americans will spend to celebrate their dads. But first, that's a live look over the Columbia Regional Airport at 6:20. Stick around. We got more news and weather coming up right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Your time is 6:23 now. Facebook's chief operating officer is stepping down. She has been by Mark Zuckerberg's side since the start of the company. Sheryl Sandberg joined Facebook in 2008 as COO and is the number 2 to CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Together, they turned Facebook into an advertising juggernaut with a market cap that once topped $1 trillion. Javier Olivan, Meta's Chief Growth Officer, will take over as COO in the fall. This Father's Day will be a busy one for businesses, but not quite as busy as Mother's Day. The National Retail Federation says it expects Americans to spend $20 billion on celebrating fathers this month. 76% of adults say they will celebrate Father's Day, and they plan to spend on average $172 to honor the men in their lives. Father's Day is Sunday, June 19th. Don't forget. General Motors says it is slashing the price of its 2023 Chevrolet Bolt electric vehicle. The move would likely make the Bolt the least expensive electric vehicle on sale in the United States. The automaker is cutting the cost to just over $26,000. That's down nearly $6,000 from the 2022 model year.
And a look at the flood advisories that are in central Missouri this morning. We have aerial flood warnings still in effect for parts of Cooper and Pettis counties until 9 o'clock this morning. That region experienced 4 to 6 inches of rain yesterday morning from Sedalia to Pilot Grove and into Boonville. So there's going to be a lot of flooding still, not only in kind of some of the more rural spots, just a lot of standing water still, but also a lot of the creeks and streams, the watersheds are going to be filled up, like the Blackwater, the Lamine, and also the Grand River. All of this flows into the Missouri, so the Missouri River will be a little higher over the weekend too. Those flood warnings go through the weekend hours. Now, rainfall trends right now show mostly dry conditions for today and tomorrow. Saturday looks mostly dry. Can't say the same for Sunday, though. Sunday looks like some rain is possible, more often on shower and storm activity for all of next week. Temperatures, though, comfortable for this time of the year with highs only in the 70s today.
You're taking a live look over downtown Columbia. It is 6:25. We'll be right back right after this.
KOMU 8 First Alert Weather.
All right, 6:29 is your current time this morning, and after all of that rainfall that we had yesterday, there's still going to be some areas in western Missouri dealing with flooding.
Here's what's happening right now. Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee festivities are underway. This is a live look from London. The 4-day celebration. The Queen just missed her. Darn. She kicked off the celebrations with the Trooping the Color ceremony. That's a military parade featuring hundreds of Army musicians and more than 200 horses. The Queen will not travel to Horse Guards Parade. Instead, she will remain at Buckingham Palace and take a salute from the balcony, which we just missed. Darn. Live TV, folks. That's what happens. Oh, well. The White House has arranged a third shipment of baby formula to arrive in the U.S. It's part of the Biden administration's Operation Fly Formula to fight the current shortage. United Airlines has agreed to transport the formula free of charge from London to multiple airports across the country over a 3-week period. Flights will contain more than 300,000 pounds of formula. That's the equivalent of almost 4 million 8-ounce bottles of the formulas. Now, they will begin shipping those formulas on June 9th. Meanwhile, President Biden hosted a roundtable yesterday with formula manufacturers. They discussed the steps the administration's taking to increase production through the Defense Production Act. Now, this is what the president had to say after the meeting.
Look, as a father and a grandfather, and I'm sure we all feel this way, understand how difficult this shortage has been for families all across the country. There's nothing more stressful than the feeling you can't get what your child needs, or he or she needs. And it's why I've directed my administration to use every tool available to increase the supply, get more formula on shelves as quickly as possible.
The president also announced the White House is putting more than $2 billion toward strengthening the nation's food supply. Pfizer and BioNTech have asked the FDA for emergency use authorization for their COVID-19 vaccine in children ages 6 months to 5 years. Trial results released last week show the vaccine appears safe and has a strong immune response. A month after the children in the trial got their third dose, tests showed the vaccine produced a similar immune response as 2 doses in 16 to 25-year-olds. Other results also show the vaccine had an 80.3 efficacy rate against symptomatic COVID-19 infection in this youngest age group. However, more testing is needed to finalize that efficacy rate. Well, a dad with a baby in his arms made the play of the day at Citi Field in New York City Alan Alcantara caught a home run ball in the first inning. Without skipping a beat, he reached over the rail and snagged it with one hand, all while holding his 1-year-old son, Levi.
The first intention was to stand up, which I did to make sure the ball doesn't hit one of us. When you have kids, you can only bring so many things, and gloves is not part of the list.
On social media, some are criticizing Allen. One person saying, lucky for Levi, he didn't get hit with the ball. Another saying, bad move with your child in your hand. I don't know. I don't know how to take this one. I mean,
I'm mixed on that one. All you have to do is just take a step over. Like if the ball's coming right at you, you just move out of the way. But also, soft hands for the dude. Like soft hands. That's awesome.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, soft hand. You just
soft hand.
Yeah,
I don't
catch
baseball.
that thing without
I don't
a glove.
know these things.
Yeah.
Okay, soft hands. I'll remember that one.
All right. Well, look at our forecast for today, and it looks great here for Thursday and Friday. A little bit of rain possible on Sunday and Monday of the late part of the weekend and next week. We'll touch on that, and we'll touch on some of the warmer weather that will be with us here for today too.
I'm a hockey guy. I don't know baseball terms, but Tim will teach me all I need to know. All right, hundreds of thousands of Americans will soon receive some good news. Coming up, the student loan debt the White House is forgiving. Welcome back, everybody. It is now 6:37, which means we're about 8 minutes away from our 10 minutes of nonstop news, weather, and traffic. Bit different
Yeah,
today.
hopefully that was like, whoa, that's different. It's not
Yeah,
15.
yeah. The Queen's pushing us back a bit. We got to give her the time she needs. Let's check in with Tim, though. What you got, Tim?
Yeah, it looks like the weather today is going to be very cooperative if you want to take a break at work and walk around the building.
Thanks, Tim. The verdict is in for the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard defamation lawsuit. A jury found both parties liable against each other. Depp had sued his ex-wife for $50 million, claiming he lost work after Heard described herself as a domestic abuse survivor in a 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post. Heard countersued for $100 million. After more than 100 hours of testimony, the jury awarded Depp $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages. His attorneys say it is now time to turn the page and look to the future.
Today's verdict confirms what we have said from the beginning, that the claims against Johnny Depp are defamatory and unsupported by any evidence. We are grateful, so grateful to the jury for their careful deliberation, to the judge and the court staff who have devoted an enormous amount of time and resources towards this case.
Heard, who was awarded $2 million in compensatory damages, says she is heartbroken over the verdict. In a statement, she called it a setback for women. In other national news, the Biden administration is canceling nearly $6 billion in federal student loan debt for former Corinthian college students. The Department of Education said about 500,000 borrowers would get relief. This includes students who attended Corinthian colleges from their founding in 1995 to their closures in April 2015. The college has been accused of predatory and unlawful practices. Los Angeles residents are under strict water conservation rules. The watering restrictions are in response to California's historic drought. Officials say their water conservation response units will be out on the streets, making sure homeowners know about the outdoor water rules, the new ones. The LA Department of Water and Power says hand watering of plants and vegetables is still permitted, but that also needs to be done in the morning or evening hours. Mid-Missouri's only nonstop news is next. 10 minutes of nonstop news, weather, and traffic. But first, a live look over the Missouri River near Rocheport. A gun raffle from a police officers association is causing concern on social media. Plus, some parents in Moberly are worried about a new rule for high school students. And Columbia Public Schools returns to the classroom today for summer classes. That tops our 10 minutes of commercial-free news, weather, and traffic.
Nonstop news starts now.
Summer classes start today for Columbia Public Schools students. Almost 9,000 of them are enrolled this year. CPS offers multiple summer school options, the most popular being summer enrichment programs or credit recovery options. The district received updated information yesterday from the city's health department, which shows the level of community spread for COVID-19 is low right now. CPS is currently not requiring masks.
Last year was slightly different because we had
differences in vaccination availability. We had differences when it came to where we were with community spread. But no, this summer we will continue in our current state of masks encouraged. If you would like to wear one, wear one.
Now, the summer session ends on June 29th, and the new school year will start in August. Schools might be out for summer for some students, but when they return to Moberly High School in the fall, they will have to leave their phones behind. The Board of Education recently held a special meeting and added the new cell phone policy to the MHS handbook. The middle school already had that policy in place. The rules say phones found in any student's possession will be confiscated. And the new policy says having personal electronic devices at school raises potential for theft and disruption. Students must not have any device in their possession during the school day, and that includes both cell phones and smart watches. They need to keep those in their lockers or their cars. If parents need to contact their students, they can call the front office, who will deliver the message. The school approved the new rules on May 24th, the same day as the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas. One high school student told us the timing was strange.
I don't think they think about it too much because it's a very odd timing that they started banishing phones because of that, like that accident that happened.
Now, some parents and students have shown their disagreement with the new policy on social media. They say students with cell phones are crucial in emergencies. Missouri Department of Health launched an interactive map to help families find summer food programs. Here you can see that map. The summer programs provide breakfast, lunch, and snacks for eligible children. Now, this is especially important during the summer when some students don't have access to school lunches. You can find a link to that map on KOMU.com. A new MU study shows the hard choices made by those who use food pantries. Researchers surveyed people who run food pantries and people who use them in Missouri. The study shows 70% of Missouri households that used food pantries last year experienced food insecurity. The report also found 46% of Missouri food pantry users had to choose between paying for food or paying for utilities last year. Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri says it is using this data to strategically address the needs of those it serves. In other local news, public reporting on social media caused the removal of a post raffling guns on the Columbia Police Officers Association's Facebook page. The raffle is part of their upcoming 27th annual golf tournament. KOMU 8 was able to screenshot the original post before its removal. The association posted this about the gun raffle on April 13th. The post reads that Modern Arms would be providing two firearms, a semi-automatic rifle and a Glock semi-automatic pistol. KOMU 8 spoke to a Columbia couple who saw the initial post before its removal.
In light of what's been going on in our country, especially in the last few weeks, it just seems counterproductive and counterintuitive to me that a police officers association would want to put more guns out into our community.
Now, this statement was posted on the Police Officers Association Facebook page. It said, quote, "Some have expressed concerns about our fundraiser, and some have been spreading false information. CPOA is not raffling an AK-47 or an automatic pistol and is only raffling items that are 100% lawful to possess. CPOA will continue to respect and honor all of the constitutional rights of everyone, even if some people think we shouldn't. If you want to buy a ticket, please let us know." End quote.
All right, let's get a check of your weather and change a little pace here. It looks like flooding alert still in effect for parts of western Missouri.
You're taking a live look outside Buckingham Palace in London. Today, Queen Elizabeth II celebrates 70 years on the throne. She is Britain's longest-serving monarch. The Queen ascended to the throne in 1952 at the age of 25. The four-day celebrations will extend through Sunday. There will be parades, pageants, and parties. NBC News' Keir Simmons tells us about some last-minute details we've learned about the festivities.
Hey there, good morning. We all get a little nervous, don't we, before a big party. Imagine being the Queen this morning, ahead of your 70th anniversary celebrations. Some news this morning, we are now hearing that the Queen will not take part in the parade along the Mall here. She will watch from Buckingham Palace. She will be saluted from Buckingham Palace. We're also hearing that Harry and Meghan will watch. They will be here. I'll have all the latest coming up on Today.
Back home, the Truman VA in Columbia is celebrating its 50th anniversary. The event will include remarks from hospital staff and a veteran. The hospital will also showcase a time capsule commemorating the medical center's anniversary. It's all happening at 10 o'clock this morning. Now it's time for KOMU's top stories making headlines in the day ahead. Today, Columbia City Manager DeCarlin Seawood will deliver the State of the City address. It's happening at 11 a.m. at the Council Chambers at City Hall, and everyone is welcome to attend. Summer school starts today for CPS. Almost 9,000 students are enrolled this year. Masks are currently not required for CPS students during this session. The White House has arranged a third shipment of baby formula to arrive to the U.S. It will contain more than 300,000 pounds of formula from London. The shipment will arrive in different flights. That will begin on June 9th. And that's your top stories. The top stories that you'll want to know about or keep an eye on in the day ahead.
And a final look at your weather, at least for the next 25 to 30 minutes. We'll have some more weather updates during the NBC Today show. And it looks like the satellite and radar showing just some high clouds passing through the state. Overall, it should be a nice sunny day with mild conditions returning. Off and on sunshine today, a high up near 75 degrees. Currently, we are in the upper 50s. So a high of 75 today, a little warmer tomorrow, a high of 80 on Friday. This should be some beautiful outdoor weather for any walk you might want to take at work or just when you get home from work and we want to take a walk around the neighborhood. Now, we do have a wet pattern for next week. This is going to be one of those classic June setups where a stalled out frontal boundary just hangs around for almost a whole week and it provides rainfall chances. And I think that we have that really starting Saturday night through Sunday, Monday, through basically all of next week. So next week, it looks wet at times here for the state.
On keeping that raincoat handy, that's for sure, Tim. But at least the temperatures will be nice.
Temperatures will be nice.
That's all we can really ask for.
For today, the humidity is backed off a little bit.
That's all we can ask for. I don't mind a non-muggy, humid summer day.
I've lived here forever. I'm done with the humidity. I don't like it, but it's a fact of life here.
It happens from time to time. All right, well, Tim and I will be back at 7:25. Ahead on Today, of course, they will continue that live coverage from London for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Here's Savannah and Hoda with a special report.